Our next reader is Linda Romanowski. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Linda is a resident of Ardmore, PA, and traces her roots to South and Northwest Philadelphia. Linda obtained her Bachelor of Arts degree from Rosemont College in Psychology and Elementary Education. She is currently enrolled in Rosemont's MFA program in Creative Nonfiction. Her primary focus is portraying her experience of her Italian heritage. She joined the Rosemont Alumni Board in 2008, where she is presently the president-elect, following her role as secretary. We got big plans for Linda, that's all I have to say. Linda is an active parishioner of St. Denis Parish in Havertown, PA, primarily involved in their adult choir. Her interests include a passion for art in its various forms and a reverence for the beauty and the limitlessness of the written word. Linda served as a reader for the upcoming issue of the Rafale Review, and her piece, Pot It's Not, was recently published in City Key. Please welcome Linda Romanowski.
Good evening, everyone. This is called The Gift of the Immigrant. It is a true story, but the names of the characters are fictional, and I am Anna Messina. There were 76 of us in a one-doored fourth grade classroom. This class was run by the iron hand of Sister Gerald. Ours was an Italian parish in a rough neighborhood. Back then, most Catholic churches were solidly ethnic. Our church was beautiful, but the parish was poor, comprised of large families with small incomes. We lived in narrow row houses, a narrowness that sometimes affected our attitudes that didn't end at the adult level, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. It was October. I was one of the biggest kids in class. This earned me the seating privilege of last desk, fifth row. The handles of the ancient vinyl accordion coat closet met at the back of my chair, a daily torment. The class pest, last seat, far left corner of the room, would unhinge it from the top, kicking it at whim. He kicked it one day when I stood up to read. The dilapidated door hit me. Sister Gerald, sitting at her desk, frowned. All she heard was commotion. "Got you this time, Messina," said the class pest. My eyes narrowed. "Leave me alone." Back then, no boy would call a girl by her first name or vice versa. That meant you were in love with that person and would marry them. Far worse than accusing someone of having cooties. No love or cooties lost here. I detested the class pest. Sister Gerald lumbered down the aisle. Our sardine-packed rows of children made this act a challenge. She was small, rotund, and old. Her habit and her lopsided gait gave her the appearance of an overgrown penguin, with one more outstanding feature. Sister had body odor that could part an aisle faster than Moses could part the Red Sea. She descended on us and stamped her foot. "You bold and brazen articles, what is the meaning of this?" I scrambled from her deafening fumes, colliding with the standing half of the closet. It careened on its track, done so easily after years of child abuse. The class cackled. Suddenly, one boy stood up and told her the class pest caused the incident. This classmate, Gallagher, was one of the only Irish kids in the class. Our pastor allowed his family to join the parish as they lived across the street from school. Perhaps the real reason was that his father was an electrician. The pastor placed him on call for every maintenance issue. Quite suitable. His children were as rough as any of us, making ethnic squabbles rare. Gallagher protecting me was nothing for him to fear. Sister promptly blistered the class pest's left hand with a metal-edged ruler. Shortly after this incident, our school prepared for the arrival of the cardinal. Sister drilled us for weeks on our catechism. This coincided with the arrival of a new family to our parish, the DeBello family. The DeBellos were from Sicily, with a child in nearly every grade. The day Katerina came to art class, Sister did the only thing she could do. She placed her with me. "I need you to take care of Katerina," she said. Inwardly, I groaned, classmates snickering behind Sister's back. Then I saw Katerina. She was very tall, slim, beautiful, easily 4 years older than I. Her hair was dark and straight. Her eyes were hazel green, exotic. Hers was a woman's face from a Renaissance painting. I thought of my mother's immigrant parents. I couldn't refuse. I agreed for their sake. I agreed because Sister's proximity oversaturated my olfactory nerve. Katerina sat beside me, so tall her knees lifted the desk from the floor. The cardinal came while Sister was taking attendance, a most torturous daily chore for all. This Irish nun had no patience with Italian surnames. Her pronunciations grated like fingernails on chalkboard. Gallagher was a relief. This was not lost on the Italian cardinal. When Gallagher was roll called, the cardinal questioned him, then asked him to repeat his name. He proudly replied, "I am Thomas Gallagher, grade 4. student of Sister Jared's class of the Order of St. Francis. Sister was too busy beaming to realize Gallagher's innocent slip. It wasn't lost on the class or the cardinal. The cardinal controlled his facial muscles, thanked him, and moved on. The story spread through the school in a flash. Gallagher's phrase was Sister's new calling card. Katerina struggled with her new environment, the language barrier, her homesickness. Our classmates were another story. Most of them were no help at all. It baffled me how people could treat her as an outcast, as most of us could trace our ancestry to the same homeland. Their meanness was almost devastated. They called her stupid or pretended that she wasn't there. Then there was the incident in the girls' lavatory. One day, standing in the lavatory waiting for Katerina, something was amiss. She seemed to be in the bathroom longer than usual. I began to worry. One girl decided to crawl under Katerina's stall. Suddenly there was a scream. "Katerina's bleeding," she taunted, wriggling from the cubicle. Her nasty friends chimed in. Katerina emerged mortified. My immediate thought was the discussion my mom and I had after viewing a recent program on TV about hemophilia. Surprising to me to learn that it was rare in women. Katerina's bleeding was too much for me to handle. Katerina has hemophilia. I was furious with my classmates. I took her by the hand and walked with her to the schoolyard. Nearly ill with fear, I resolved to protect her. I was on a mission. Christmas was coming. Sister consented to a Pollyanna, the first and last one she would ever hold. I explained this to Katerina, who seemed to understand. In fact, Katerina was understanding more and more. She was quite intelligent, but very shy. We were becoming friends. It was the day before Christmas Eve. It was dress-up day. Mom reminded me to walk like a lady. My venture with nylon stockings, a new experience. My legs were already itching with their unexpected contact of hosiery, those first steps of womanhood. I kissed Mom goodbye and packed my gift in my school bag. I couldn't wait to find out who had me for Pollyanna. The class was in a fracas. Sister's attempt at an organized gift exchange went for naught. Wrapping paper and bows tossed everywhere. Her command for order unheeded. There were games, toys, dolls. The class pest received a wind-up fire engine that sputtered about the floor. Christmas carols blared from the PA system. I waited. Sister called my name at last and handed me a package. It was flat and square. Everyone was curious. The class pest smirked. What could that be? It looks like a fire engine. I ignored him. The other kids pressed forward. The chain reaction, everyone pushing, caused the coat closet to sway. My peripheral vision spied the class pest unhooking the right side. My unwrapped package distracted me. I was stunned. My gift of 2 coloring books revealed. I looked up, saw Katerina, and realized she was my gift giver. Our classmates howled in derision. The books slipped to the floor. One of them opened. In horror, Katerina and I noticed pages scribbled with crayon. One of her sisters had taken liberties with my gift. Some creep grabbed my books, tearing several pages, creating coloring book confetti. Katerina's mortification was complete. The class pest struck again. He waved his pricey gift with pomp, chanting "stupid" at her. I moved to her side. I warned him to leave her alone. He whirled into my face. "Hey, Fatso Messina, I'm not talking to you." He swung the fire engine in a slow arc. Katerina was sobbing. I warned him again to leave her alone. He feigned submission, loosening his grip on his toy. He pulled at my curls, saying, "Messina, even your curls are fat." The boys bellowed. The class pest moved to take a bow. As he threw up his arms to bask in glory, the fire engine flew into the air. It was destined for Katerina's temple. I remember the lavatory incident. Katerina, hemophilia. My mind locked itself in terror. That did it. I pulled myself to full height, facing the class pest. It was as if I were seeing him for the first time. With unaccustomed fury, as red as a fire engine, I pushed him with all my might. The class pest hit the coat closet hard. Part of the outer frame collapsed. He now saw me for the first time. Our eyes locked. He was afraid of me. It was a thrill I've never forgotten. The fire engine narrowly missed Katerina. When it hit the floor, the class pest and I dove for it. I retrieved it. Then there was her odor and her voice. "Anna Messina, what is going on?" Startled, I dropped the fire engine. It rolled down my leg, creating a tire tread runner in my brand new stockings. All I could think of was that after Sister kills me, Mom will. Katerina wailed. Sister learned what happened. The class pest had both hands blistered with the metal-edged ruler. The color of his hands matched his gift. I kept quiet. Sister lectured us on the true meaning of Christmas. I felt her scolding was aimed at me. I was miserable. Katerina took my hand and apologized. I was too embarrassed and confused to cry. Yet that moment I saw Katerina for who she was. My heart went out to her. Some of the kids felt guilty and started to speak to her like a human being. We moved the following spring. I found out Katerina was tested and placed in 7th grade. She proved to be extremely bright. Soon, my coming of age taught me that Katerina wasn't a hemophiliac. Perhaps my classmates' treatment of her was their fear of being perceived as backward, perceptions once endured by their grandparents. I still think of Katerina every Christmas, and the class pest, and Gallagher, and Sister Gerald of the odor of St. Francis.